Hi everybody, I'm back with a few chapters from Renee Watson's Piecing Me Together. Today I will be starting with chapter 29. It's called La Llorona. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but it means the weeping woman. Chapter 29. I am on my way downtown to walk through the city and take photos. The bus is pretty empty when I get on. Only 3 people in the front, an elderly man and a mother with her young son, and a few teens near the back. I sit in the middle section and look out the window. The streets are as solemn as the sky. At the 3rd stop, a woman gets on the bus, her hair not so straight anymore because of the rain. She has on sandals and jeans that look like they've never been washed. Her shirt hangs so low and is so thin you can see. She says to the driver, "Can I get on?" He says, "Pay your fare, ma'am." "I ain't got no fare." "Can I get on?" "I'm just going a few blocks." The driver sighs a long sigh. "Come on," he says. The woman wobbles to the seat across from me. I try not to stare at her, but she makes it hard because she's mumbling to herself and crying. She's not an old woman or a young woman. She's not pretty or ugly. I wonder who loves her, who is worried about her, who maybe cared so much but had to give up on her. I wonder what she was like when she was my age. Did she ever think she'd be on a bus, drenched from the rain, smelling like sorrow and regret? When I get off, she calls out, "Jesus loves you! Jesus loves you!" I walk around the city like I'm a tourist, my camera in hand. Every corner has a story. Every block asks a question. So many worlds colliding all at once. I document my walk. So many worlds colliding all at once. Hiding away in places people can't see me, so I'm not obvious. I don't want anyone to pose or stop and ask why I'm taking their photo. I just want to capture the city. I put the setting on black and white and begin. The line at Voodoo Donuts that wraps around the block. The food carts on Alder Street. The umbrella man at Pioneer Square. The Portlandia statue. The Portland marquee at the Arlene Schnitzer, its oversized lights framing the sign. And then I see a mural I've never seen before. On the front of the Old Oregon Historical Society's building, there's a larger-than-life mural of Lewis and Clark, Sacagawea and her baby, and York with Seaman, the dog that accompanied them on the trip. I have never seen this mural before. Never seen York alongside the others. They seem to be stepping out of the building. The 4 of them seem so high, they look over the city. I take a few photos of the mural. And on the last one, I zoom in on York's face. Chapter 30, Feliz Navidad, Merry Christmas. Lily and Sam come over to make holiday cards. Before we even get started, Lily says, "I'm just here for moral support, Jade. You know I can't draw." "You don't have to draw anything. We're making collages," I remind her. "I'm not an artist like you, Jade," Lily says, like she didn't even hear what I said. "But look, the art is mostly done for you. I opened the small plastic bin I have that's full of Christmas cards from last year. Some were given to me, some to my mom. I tore off the front of the cards and saved them so I could recycle them for this year. I do it with Valentine's Day cards too. I tell Lily and Sam, all you have to do is cut and paste. There's really no wrong way to do it." "You must not remember 6th grade, Lily says. We burst into laughter, so hard that I have to wipe tears from my eyes. Lily explains it all to Sam. Our art teacher kept giving the same "we're all artists" speech Jade is trying to give us, but when it came time for her to hang our self-portraits in the hallway for parent night, guess what she said to me? Lily looks at me for me to take over. I talk in Mrs. White's frail, shaky voice. Well, let's see, Lenora." That must be Lily's full name, Lenora. "Let's see, Lenora. I think we just might set this one aside. hide. I'll find a special place for it, but maybe, well, maybe it won't go on the bulletin board. Lily finishes. Mrs. White never found a special place. Well, the trash can, maybe, but it never made it to the bulletin board or anywhere on a wall in the classroom. I couldn't believe how shocked she sounded, like she had never, ever, ever seen something so bad in all her years of teaching. And that didn't hurt your feelings? Sam asks. Not at all. I know what I'm good at, and it ain't drawing or painting or cutting things up and making something out of them. That's Jade. I'm the poet. I tell Sam, we used to do each other's assignments. I would draw for Lily and she would write for me. I grabbed the scissors and cut out a Christmas tree. It worked until middle school, but then we met Mrs. White and there was no way to trick her. And so, left to my own skills, my self-portrait looked like I hated myself, Lily says. Sam laughs just a little until Lily tells her, it's okay, you can laugh at me. I'm pretty pathetic. It's pretty pathetic, I know. Then Sam lets a real laugh out. I hand a few cards to Lily. Cut things out, I tell her. I'll design. Lily picks up a pair of scissors and starts cutting. Sam grabs scissors and starts cutting too. I can't believe you saved all of this. I throw cards away the minute I get them. Well, not like I get that many, but yeah, I don't keep anything. We make cards for the rest of the afternoon, only stopping to make hot chocolate. Lily is writing a poem for Mrs. Baker, and Sam is writing a note to her grandfather. I finish a card for my mom, but I haven't written anything yet. I'm working on one for Maxine. I'll write something later. The room is full of the sound of scissors slicing and pens gliding across construction paper. Lily puts her pen down and then says, Sam, what are you good at? What do you like to do? Sam stops writing. She thinks longer than I expect and says, I don't know, nothing like writing poetry or making art. I don't know. I don't really like making things or as much as I like enjoying them. I'd rather read a story than write one. I'd rather go to a museum and see art than paint something, she tells us. So pretty much I'm lazy, I guess. And I have no talent. She laughs a little. Maybe that means you're good at listening, I say. I think about all the conversations that we've had, how Sam always looks at me like she's really focusing on my words, taking all of me in. How she's a good observer, always noticing my mood and asking if I'm okay. You're a good friend, I tell her. That's a talent. Sure is, Lily says. Not everyone knows how to be that. Lily gets to talking about one of our friends who isn't really our friend anymore. She keeps saying she doesn't care, but you wouldn't know it by the way she keeps going on and on. It's almost like she isn't talking to me or Sam, like she is caught in her own replay of how our ex-best friend kissed her boyfriend. And while Lily is relieving her heartache, Sam seems like she is in her own world too. Her face is stuck on a smile, her eyes bright and thankful. She looks at me and says, almost in a whisper, you're a good friend too. Chapter 31. Víspera de Año Nuevo. New Year's Eve. I write my resolution in black Sharpie marker on top of a background made out of cut-up scriptures, words from newspaper headlines, and numbers from last year's calendar. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful, be brilliant, be, parentheses, your best. That sounds familiar. That was actually on the back of the book. I remember reading that before I started reading the novel to you guys. That's right in chapter 31. Be bold, be brave, be beautiful, be brilliant, be, parentheses, your best. Chapter 32, hermanas, which means sister. Ever since my talk with Maxine, she's been making an effort to spend time with me and really be with me. Not late, not checking her phone, Tonight she invited me over to her apartment. Mom took no time to say yes. A few of Maxine's friends are coming over and she wants me to meet them. She picked me up early enough to go to Safeway to get snacks. Chocolate pretzels, cheese and crackers, mixed nuts. She takes out serving dishes from the cabinet and I pour the pretzels and nuts into separate bowls while she arranges the crackers around the chunk of cheese in the middle of this small tray. Thanks for helping, she says. She sets the food out on the coffee table. Maxine's apartment has 2 bedrooms, and each has its own bathroom. Plus, there's a half bathroom for guests in the hallway. The living room, dining room, and kitchen blend into one another in one big space, separated by furniture and appliances. There's a framed world map in the center of her living room wall, black and white photos to the left and right. One of the Eiffel Tower and the other of the Brooklyn Bridge. Her living room looks like she bought a whole showroom at a furniture store, everything matching and perfectly in its place. I love your apartment, I tell her. Thanks, Maxine says. Don't open the closet, though, she says, laughing. I have to have at least one messy space. There's a knock at the door, and when Maxine opens it, 2 girls come in. Max! They exchange hugs and file in. Maxine introduces us. I make mental notes so I can remember their names. Bailey is the one whose hair is braided in big, thick cords and pinned back into a maze of rows that make a full bun at the back of her head. Kira is the one with straight hair, a light brown color like her eyes. Bailey says, it's nice to meet you. I've heard so much about you. I smile and wonder what Maxine has told them. Bailey and Kira sit in the living room. I join them. Maxine pours iced tea and offers the snacks to everyone. Eat up, ladies, she says. Kira wastes no time getting to business. So lay it on us, Kira says. What's the deal with you and John? There's nothing to say. We broke up. That's it. He's trying to get back with her, though, Bailey says. Calls her 1,000,001 times a day. You're not picking up, are you, Max? I mean, what does he have to say? Kira asks. He still thinks he has access to her stuff. Didn't he ask to use your car the other day? Bailey asks. Maxine says, that's not all he calls about. He called the other day to apologize. He said he was sorry for everything. Well, we know that, Kira says. He's been sorry from day one. Oh, come on, Maxine says. None of us knew John was going to cheat on me. I mean, we had a good 2-year relationship. Bailey's voice is softer now, like she knows what she's about to say might hurt Maxine's feelings. Max, John may not have been cheating on you the whole time, but, well, he was kind of using you. I mean, always needing your car, always asking for money, even if he didn't cheat. The writing was on the wall that the 2 of you didn't need to be together. Why? Because he lost his job? I'm not a gold digger. I didn't care that he got fired. That's not losing his job. He got fired because he kept showing up high and late, Kira says. I mean, let's be honest. I stuff my mouth with pretzels and listen to the soap opera tales of John and Maxine. All right, he had some issues. You can't help who you love. And besides, the point is, we broke up, remember? I let him go, Maxine says. Kira and Bailey say almost in unison, just don't take him back. Maxine looks at me. I hope you have good friends to keep you from making stupid mistakes, she says. She sits next to me on the sofa. My friends wouldn't have let me date a guy like him in the first place, I tell her, and definitely not my mom. Maxine looks part offended, part surprised. Sorry, I didn't mean to. No, it's fine. Point well taken, she says. And in Kira and Bailey's defense, they did try. But we had a history, and I couldn't walk away without trying to make it work. I tried. It didn't work. I'm moving on, trying to move on, Maxine says. I feel bad that all we've talked about is John. I changed the subject by asking them to tell me what college was like for them. Kira says, well, I'm still in college, actually. This is my last year at Portland State. Kira and Maxine talked to me about dorm life. Kira says, living on my own but still close to family was good for me. I needed that. Bailey went to the University of San Diego. My freshman year was so hard, but after I found my spots, where to get the hair products I like, a black church, you know, the essentials, I was good. We talk till the sun is swallowed by the sky. We've devoured all of the snacks, so Maxine orders pizza from a gourmet pizza shop. When she asks what kind we want, everyone says things like feta and grilled chicken and basil, and Maxine asks, what about tofu instead of chicken? And I am sure this is going to be the nastiest pizza I've ever tasted. While we wait for the delivery, the conversation stays on food. Maxine shares her newest smoothie recipes, and Bailey mentions how hard it's going to be to avoid chocolate this Valentine's Day, with it right around the corner. Bailey asks, speaking of V-Day, anybody got plans? Kira rolls her eyes. I know what I'm not going to do, she says. I will not be attending the performance of the Vagina Monologues at PSU. They all laugh. Kira eats the last little crumbs of pretzels in the bowl. I've really had enough. Every year, the school puts this play on like it's the only play about the issues women face. Women face. What about For Colored Girls? Maxine says, they are not going to do For Colored Girls. It's in italics. It's the name of another play. They have before, Kira says, a long time ago. Bailey asks, what's wrong with the Vagina Monologues? Again, in italics, the name of a play. Yeah, I say, what's it about? Kira and Bailey look at Maxine, and Maxine's eyes get big, and I start feeling like I do whenever I know my mom doesn't want to tell me something. Bailey stutters. Can she... It's a play that features stories about women. It, covers issues like love and relationships, Maxine starts telling me. And rape, sex, getting your period for this first time, Kira interrupts. Okay, I think she gets it, Maxine says. Delivery comes, and once Maxine has brought the box into the kitchen, we all reach in to grab a slice. Kira pours more iced tea for everyone. Okay, so back to the conversation at hand. What's the big deal talking about that play? What, Jade can't hear the word sex? Kira. Bailey throws a pillow at her. The three of them go back and forth debating over what I'm too young to know, what I'm old enough to talk about, and who should tell me. I sit and eat my pizza. It's not as bad as I thought it would be. The sauce is really good, and there is a lot of it, so I barely taste the thin pieces of tofu. I wonder if this is what having big sisters would be like. I've always wanted an older sister. When I was 10, I asked Mom if she would give me a sister for Christmas. I had no idea what I was really asking. She laughs about that now, telling me I asked Dad too. And he actually considered it. We end the night playing around, round after round of Taboo. We alternate teams until each of us has partnered. It's getting late, and Maxine calls it a night so she can take me home. While we're cleaning up the mess we made, Kira whispers to me, for real though, if you have questions about sex or anything Miss Prude Maxine won't talk with you about, just let me know. Kira, please leave Jade alone. She is not like that. She's smart. She's on a scholarship at St. Francis and has a 4.0 GPA. This girl right here is going places. She's not going to mess things up by getting caught up with some guy, she says. I'm going to see to it that she doesn't end up like one of those girls. I know when Maxine says those girls, she's talking about the girls who go to Northside. I don't know what to say. Every time I see Maxine, it is 2 steps forward and 2 steps back. Here I was thinking how quickly it happened that I fit in with her friends and how we are easy with one another as if we had shared years of laughter. But then I think how quick it is that Maxine reminds me that I am a girl who needs saving. She knows I want out, and she has come with a lifeboat. Except I just don't know if I can trust her hand. Chapter 33. Lo mismo, the same. I'm finished with my first collage about York, Lewis, and Clark. Mom thinks I'm obsessed with their stories. I tell her maybe I am. Tell her that it's interesting to me that a black man made the journey to find this place, the Pacific Northwest, when all I want to do is leave it. Mom says, just come back to me and visit every now and then. Tonight I make something about a different expedition, the one I am on. I want to get out. I feel like a traitor for admitting it. Maxine is right and wrong. Wrong because I am like those girls. I am the Kool-Aid drinking, fast food eating, unhealthy girl who wants to give nutrition classes too. I know all about food stamps and dollar menus and layaway. Know how to hold my purse tight at night when walking down dark streets. Know how to duck at the sound of a shooting gun. I do. I'm the girl who walks down the hallway hoping for at least one boy to notice me. But the boys at school don't like me because I look nothing like their mothers, look nothing like the dream, capital D. The boys over here, well, to them I am good for tutoring and friendshiping and advice giving I am. So Maxine is wrong, so wrong about me. But she is also right, because I know more than that, want more than that. Right, because I am the girl who spends her summers reading books and working, tutoring at the rec, when a lot of her friends are at the rec, playing their summers away. I am the girl who knows when to stop talking back to a teacher because I know my mother will be waiting for me when I get home, asking me if I forgot who raised me. I am the girl who dreams of going places, to college, to grad school, all around the world, if I can. Maxine is right and wrong. Those girls are not the opposite of me. We are perpendicular. We may be on different paths, yes, but there's a place where we touch, where we connect, and where we are all the same. I'm going to read one more chapter, chapter 34. Pertenecer, to belong. Life has only been school all day, tutoring afterward, and sad looks from Sam, who thinks I have forgotten about her. I tell her I haven't been hanging out with anyone, not even Lily, and I used to see her every day. She believes me, I think, but it doesn't make her feel any better when I say, sorry, I can't come over. Today, though, I don't have anything to do after school, so we decide to go to Pioneer Place to shop. Well, Sam's shopping. I'm just going. Sam drags me in and out of stores for the rest of the afternoon. The only stores we go into are for skinny girls, so I'm glad I don't have any money to buy anything. Let's go in here, she says. We step into a store lit by bright lights and with music so loud we can barely hear each other talk. Sam stops at the first rack and picks up a blue long-sleeve shirt that's thin and low-cut. She holds it up to her torso and then tosses the shirt over her arm. I have never been able to pick up a shirt, hold it up to my body, and know that it can fit. I have to try everything on, everything. We walk to the next rack. What about this skirt? Too short? I look at it, then look at the mannequin to see where it falls on her. It might be fine if you wear leggings under it. Sam grabs a skirt in her size and adds it to the growing bundle on her arm. She goes rack to rack, deciphering jeans, skirts, and shirts. Her arms are so full that one of the sales clerks comes over to us and asks if she can start a room. She is white with curly red hair and freckles that can barely be seen unless you stand close to her. Her nails are painted emerald green and they match her leggings. I'll put you in room 4, she says. Sam continues to the back of the store. The woman looks at me. Is there something I can help you with? I smile. Thanks for asking, but I don't think there's one thing in here that could even fit my pinky toe, let alone my whole body. I am joking, but I guess she doesn't think it's funny. She doesn't laugh or even smile. She says, we don't allow loitering in our store. Loitering? I'm just waiting for a friend. You are more than welcome to wait out there, she says, pointing to the bench sitting outside the entrance. So I can't look around? Well, of course you can, but you can't stand idle, and I walk away. There's no point in arguing with her, plus I see a cute bag on sale in the back of the store. On my way to the bags, I get distracted by all the earrings. I try on a few pairs and then pick up a thick bracelet the color of a pomegranate and sitting in the clearance basket. It's chunky and wide, and it looks like it might fit me. I pick it up and try to slide my hand over it. It will barely get past my knuckles. I try again, squeezing my fingers together as close as they can go, but the bracelet won't go on, so I put it back in the basket. Excuse me, the sales clerk steps toward me. I'm sorry, I just noticed you still have your bag with you. Do you mind if I take it and hold it behind the counter? It's store policy. I look around the store. The woman standing at the rack next to me has her clutch in her right hand. She's white. The woman 2 racks from her has a purse hanging on her left shoulder, also white. Before I can object, she says, "Your bag is quite large, much larger than theirs, which is why..." "If you're not taking everyone's bag, you're not taking mine," I tell her. "I'm sorry, but if you don't cooperate, I'll have to ask you to leave." "Don't worry about asking me." I walk out of the store, right past all the other women who heard this lady ask me for my bag while they are still holding on to theirs. None of them say anything. Most look away like they're trying not to witness this. Others stare and shake their heads in disappointment. I'm not sure if the gesture is geared towards me or the clerk. I sit on a bench outside of the store and wait for Sam. One of the women who was able to hold onto her purse comes out of the store, a shopping bag in hand. She walks over to me and says, "I'm sorry to bother you, but I had to let you know that what the woman did to you was wrong. If I were you, I'd write a letter to the manager." She walks away, and I am left with her apology and the scent of her lingering perfume. When Sam comes out, she asks, "Why'd you come out here?" I tell her everything that happened. "No way," she says. "I'm serious. That really just happened," I tell her. "Did you get to take your backpack into the dressing room?" She looks at mine, lifts it up to hers and says, "Yes, but yours is a little bigger." "By what, an inch? Really, Sam? You're going to side with the racist sales clerk?" We walk to the next store. "I wouldn't call that racist," Sam says. "So what would you call it?" "I don't know. Maybe you seemed up to something because you weren't buying any clothes." "So big girls can't go into stores for skinny girls and look at the accessories? That's a problem too?" Sam slows down. "That's not what I'm saying. I don't think it had anything to do with your race or your size. I think maybe she was just trying to do her job, that's all." I don't know what's worse, being mistreated because of the color of your skin, your size, or having to prove that it really happened. And that's where I'll stop for today. I read chapter 29 through 34 of Renee Watson's Piecing Me Together.